Hello guys, welcome to my channel for new battle report. So this is a new series of battle report. I am again using my Ogre Khan. Didn't play Ogre since a couple of months, but it was decided that I'm going to play Ogre Khan for Switzerland at the ETC, so I need to train again with them. And I was testing a couple of lists to decide myself which one I want to bring to the ETC with Switzerland, and I played a practice game against Coco Freeze. Important things to know for you, this practice game, I will try to make short battle report because there is much less thinking, and you know I want to replicate or to let you know more or less, have the feeling how much preparation and analysis I did before the game or after, and then it would make no sense to make a long battle report if I didn't think a lot before the game actually. And in practice game basically I spent much less time in preparation, and also sometimes the decision that I make are much less safe because I want to try out some combats and get some learnings. So it's slightly different than sometimes the way I'm playing in tournament, and I think it's also good for you to know. So let's go, let's start battle report. So this is my list. I was playing a Master of Thaumaturgy with Binding Scroll, Magical Heirloom. Good setup to have all the magic you need, especially a good range damage and also some buff for combat. The Great Khan with Kagadai and 4 up, Mammoth Hunter, 3 up, 5 up, 3 up against fire with Spine Splitter and Scout. You know, I like this build for the Mammoth Hunter. Then we have a BSB with the 4 Poison Shot, Yeterfos to get in combination with the Frost Mammoth and an Aether Icon as well. 10 Bruisers as a welcome unit for the Great Khan. 3 Bruiser, 3 Tribesmen that can act as chaff, scoring, anti-chaff, very versatile unit. 6 Mercenary Veteran with brace of Ogre Pistols, Poison Attack Plate Armor, Magical Resistance 1, 1 Keen Eater, 1 Saber-Tooth Tiger, a Thunder Cannon and the Frost Mammoth. So basically I figured out last year when I was playing Ogre Khan that I have an issue with the Ogre is sometimes to play against high initiative, hard striking opponent, and I think at the moment with Dread Elves and a lot of other army also playing this type of medium-sized block that are striking often before the Ogre Khan, you need to have tool against that. So either you go Pyro and then you get the full option Pyro Mage with 5 damage spell from Pyro, which is an option, or you decide to go with Catapult or maybe even a combination of both, or Bombardier also an option in this case, so range damage. Or you want to have a tool in for the close combat. So basically using the Frost Mammoth to get the debuff of agility and then be able to strike sometimes before the opponent. Coco was using a new version from his WTC list, slight change, so he kept the Warlock Acolyte Desta with both Dread Prince and BSB on horses. Then he decided to go with the Warlock Adept of Evoke that will be within 1 unit of Legend Auxiliaries. He picked 40 Legionaries instead of the Temple Militant, 5 Shadow Riders and also 5 Black Cloak as piece of chaff, 10 Obsidian Guard to have an additional Panic Bubble, and then 3x3 Thunder Pack and a second unit of Warlock Acolyte. So as you can see, I like the way the magic is built because you have 2 units that can also fight in combat that are Adept, and then you have a Warlock Adept of Evoke, meaning 3 Adept, pretty cheap. You can 5 dice with no problem, which is pretty strong, I think, when you need a key buff at a particular point of time in the game. We played random, so Spoil of War, map A1, and then Frontline Clash. Here you have the spell selection that we both picked. Short matchup analysis, so he has plenty of units. I think in this case I will need to use the one board side to limit a little bit his ability to surround me from each side, because he has so many things that move fast and strike hard, so I need to be careful. MSU, meaning he has more threat than me, but he also needs combo to break the steadfast of my unit, which is pretty important. He has so many drops, he can play the drop game, so drop one and see where I go. Range damage, I think I'm superior to him, definitely, because I have all these shots. So I expect him to attack me, and since we play Spoil of War, I think he has a fair advantage on the secondary objective. I would definitely expect this matchup to be a loss for me, something like no range game, so 6 or 7 probably. The mobility allows BSB in general to pick the fights in this game, so this is pretty scary for me, especially since they are protected from the cannon because they are within a big unit of Warlock Acolyte. Deployment, Coco picked the top, giving me the impassable, and yeah, here I missed something very important. I should have deployed for first turn to limit his ability to push me, something like I did in the game against Hugh, if you remember, during the WTC, which worked pretty well. In this case, I wasn't sure how to play exactly my list in this matchup, and I wanted to see what he does to deploy properly, but I think it would have been way better to deploy for first turn on the right side of the board. Nevertheless, I decided to let him drop, and he dropped for first turn, obviously. Here you have the Thunder Pack, Auxiliaries on the right, Warlock, Acolyte, Shadow Riders, Legionnaires, and Obsidian Guard here on the left. I also forgot the fact that he was putting his scout before me. I was a little bit tired. It was just one game after the vaccine of the COVID for me, so maybe that was also an impact, I don't know. He put the scout here so close to me and will be able to deal pretty soon with my chaff that is not protected well enough. So I have here my Bruiser unit with the Kagadai Great Khan, 3 Tribesmen, 3 Bruiser on the left with the Frost Mammoth, Mercenaries Veteran with both BSB and Shaman, and the cannon, and here the hunter scouting on the left. His turn 1, he pushes forward and chaffs my entire army more or less. So yeah, pretty obvious, I think, straightforward. In the magic phase I dispel Hereditary, and then he gets reroll to hit on the cavalry, and then he 5 dice Twisted Effigy against my mercenary, and despite the MR2 I'm not able, and all my dice I'm not able to dispel that one, so that's pretty annoying to start with. My turn 1. So I checked a little bit my option. I have the safe option, which is charging with tribesmen on the flank, and then tribesmen have to flee the charges, but that's not too much of a deal. And then I have a slightly more risky option, but could be very interesting to try out, which is charge the mercenary veteran, reform in a way that I give a front to everybody, long charges to legionaries and warlock acolyte, and then plenty of counter charge with backing off the rest of my army. So that's what I'm going to try out. Also to see what the mercenaries can do if they hold all these charges. So I bring my hunter as a counter charger, I put everybody in position to be ready to counter charge, and I back a little bit Kagadai's unit. In the magic phase, I try to put Hereditary on the mercenaries, but Coco dispelled that, and then I'm able to get a breast weapon on my mage. In close combat, I killed them, and the shooting I did nothing this turn. His turn 2, so he goes for all charges. So that was a 9 rollable for them. They get in, and then both Thunderpack were pretty easy. They get in, and the Legionaries had 8 on 2 dice, but they succeed as well. But he decided to fail charge with them and end up on the token to pick it next turn, which is not bad. But I think if you consider the fact that all of them are light troop, and the fact that I have 1, 2, the Kagadai Lord, and also the Hunter in the counter charge for next turn, if I have 3 model left, I think it would have been way better for him to put the Legionaries here on the corner and then just make sure, okay, I'm sure to break you, and then next turn, yeah, you can try to do things, but the mercenaries will be dead. So I think that would have been slightly better, and he agreed on that after the game. So yeah, he get all this charge off, so we'll see if the mercenaries can hold or not. It will be interesting. In the magic phase, I use my Binding Scroll on -1 toughness and leadership. I know that I have a complicated leadership check to do, most likely a steadfast on a 9, because he's going to die the BSB facing his character. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I dispel that spell with the Binding Scroll. Then he gets Hereditary off. I dispel reroll to wound on the Warlock Acolyte. In shooting, these guys do 2 wounds to my bruisers. And then close combat, I do a fair amount of damage. I think I kill these guys in the front. I do a couple of wounds here as well, but he just do too much to me. He kills like 5 whole model of mercenaries, plus also the BSB. And here what was the deciding factor to break my steadfast was the Hereditary spell, because Hereditary was able to use 2 tokens to put 2d3 plus 2 hit strength 4 AP2, and that did a lot of wounds against my mercenaries and just make sure to break my steadfast. So I'm in auto break mode. He pursue me, catch me. Fortunately for me, the Warlock don't go that far. And then on my turn 2, it will be pretty interesting, because you need to imagine this guy is alone here. Here I don't know if there is anybody left. I think they were all killed, and these guys were just here blocked in front of the cannon. So in my turn, That's the 3D view, which is really very nice looking. You see this first mammoth is just amazing. So well done, Wall team. I really love how it looks like in 3D. His turn, my turn too. As you can see, the picture is completely different. And now you must be asking what happened. So first of all, I charge with my Mammoth Hunter in the flank of this guy, the Thunder Pack that was alone, which was pretty interesting for me to get. He decided to flee, goes over the Warlock Acolyte. They fail a 10 rollable. And flee away from the cannon here in the middle. Then I check that I can push charge with the Frost Mammoth to make sure he goes over, and it is a panic check on an 8 rerollable because of the Obsidian Guard. So he passes the check, goes over, and then I charge again with the Mammoth Hunter to push them as far as I can. So I could as well, what was also possible was to charge to make them end up here, was also an option for me. But yeah, I decided to do like that. I think it would have been slightly better maybe to make them flee here and then keep the frosts for, I don't know, yeah. And the cannon also charges, I don't remember what, but cannon also charged one thing as well. I think that was also some Thunder Pack and they flee somewhere or they died. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, the cannon also charged something. So both fail charge, Mammoth Hunter fail charge, and the Bruiser Star goes against the Warlock Acolyte. So yeah, big turn of event here, unexpected. Still I have a chance. So no magic, close combat, I one-shot him, and he's turn 2. And his turn 3. And he gets the charge off. That was an 11 Swift Stride in my flank with the Thunder Pack. This hurts. And then Legendaries, they charge first the Hunter. I had to flee. Then he redirect the charge against my big unit. I hold, I want to see how this combat goes. And I also have some counter charge in position, so I want to see that. These guys then charge my Bruiser, they flee, and then redirect the charge against my Hunter. I flee again. So yeah, definitely position of the Bruiser was not so good. I could have just picked the spoil. I think I was too confident of my chance to beat the Obsidian Guard, but when I figure out how they strike, I mean, it's amazing what they can do, and even against the Hunter, they can just kill me. So yeah, I flee here on the left. Keen Eater is on the board, forgot to mention that, and here in close combat. So in close combat, he gets +1 strength on the Spear guy. I try to dispel, reroll 2 lethal strike, but again he is able to put 5 dice, does a high roll, so he gets that off. So 5 against 5, and he gets that off. So that's really bad for me because he's like hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, rollable with lethal strike. So that's nightmare. And then close combat, yeah, no surprise. These guys just do some damage with the impact, and then these guys strike. That was a nightmare how they strike. I think only them would have break my unit alone, so that wasn't too big of an issue, the fact that he charged me in the flank. So yeah, amazing perf. And then what happened is I fail panic on the Chariot, fail panic on the Frost as well, both go off the board. So basically that's the end of the game, because this guy has 1 wound left, these 2 are fleeing. I mean, that's the end of the game. So yeah, that was it. Yeah, short game, but that was interesting. We had the chance to try out the combat we wanted to try out. So big mistakes here. I should have dropped for turn 1. Avoid the turn 1 chaff and be pushed. Also get the first turn of range damage would have been really, really nice in this game. Considering the fact that I decided to counter deploy, I still think it was not a good counter deployment. I deployed too high, I was not facing the matchup. If you see the way the Spear guy Legendaries were able to kill my Death Star, I think the Bruiser unit was not in the right spot, if you consider that. Legionnaires, yeah, they hurt the Bruiser really well. Mercenaries were really close to hold, and actually it was funny to see that it's the Hereditary that made me break. So I should have really dispelled that one, which was the only way that he had really to increase damage output in this combat. Like I said, Legendaries charging Mercenaries would have secured the break of this unit, and yeah, make me regret heavily this choice of charging with Mercenaries. Couple of questions or problem. I found out that I have a slight lack of threat in the list, especially in this matchup, obviously. The amount of combat buff that I have is quite I mean, if you play against somebody that has a binding scroll, he will use it on hereditary or smite and then dispel the other one, and then you have only breast weapon to boost the combat, which is not a lot. And then last point, but Bruiser plus the Dread Khan, they have the same strengths, they strike hard, but the same weakness, they strike last, which was in this case an issue. So yeah, that was it for this first game, so pretty brutal. Here I put a picture as well, how I should have deployed, only considering the fact that I would have counter-deployed. If I drop, obviously I would have dropped strong on the right. I think that would have been much better. But then if I counter-deploy, then basically put the Bruiser here, with or without the Kagadai Dread Khan, we can debate about that, that's another question. Then Mercenaries here, basically make sure that I can push the left flank quickly and get some battle line here long and get some space here on the left part, and also secure that I take this spoil of war. I think that would have been very helpful. And then just put the cannon here. I think I don't need that much the cannon. He's a single model, so not afraid of panic. Just put him here to block the scout, put some pressure maybe on the archer as well. I don't care if he dies in this game. So that could have been also an option. So yeah, thanks a lot guys for watching. That was a short battle report. As I've told you, there will be a couple of more of them coming up on the battle, on the channel, sorry. And after that I will also try to play some practice game live on table, because this is also important. And obviously you will be able to get my ETC battle report sometime in August as well. Bye bye guys, thanks for watching.